Well, did you think they would only stop at removing statues? Of course not. Taking out the chairman of the University of British Columbia for liking a banal tweet from the President of the United States. Just shocking. But of course it starts with statues, and it's rather indiscriminate. Here's a statue of Cervantes, the Spanish poet who himself was a slave, completely violated. There was a funny statue in Canada. Pierre Trudeau wasn't torn down, but it had blackface applied to the statue. Police say they're investigating it as a hate crime. Hate crime against whom? Against black people for being associated with Trudeau? Against Justin Trudeau for, I don't know, but they're certainly going at it. Joining us now via Skype from his home in the Los Angeles area is our friend Joel Pollak, Senior Editor-at-Large at Breitbart.com. Joel, welcome to the show. I see you've got a new story that in San Francisco, the city removed a massive Christopher Columbus statue because it weighs 2 tons. They didn't want it to topple on any protesters, so they did the protesters' job for them. They didn't even rely on amateurs. The city brought in professionals to take down a statue of Columbus. I noticed you've tweeted about Mount Rushmore. I'd say that's not even a crazy tweet anymore. Why wouldn't they go to dynamite Mount Rushmore Taliban style?
Well, I tweeted a picture of Mount Rushmore with the caption, "Go big or go home," because they are talking about removing slave-owning presidents. So that would be George Washington and Thomas Jefferson. That's half of Mount Rushmore. They've attacked Abraham Lincoln for, I guess, just being a dead old white guy. And that's 3 out of 4. And yesterday in New York, the mayor announced that they're going to be removing the statue of Theodore Roosevelt from in front of the Natural History Museum. Now, Teddy Roosevelt is the archetypal progressive. He was a Republican, but also helped found the progressive movement and ran for the presidency, actually, as the candidate of the Progressive Bull Moose Party. And to see the progressives of today removing the founder of their particular strain of thinking, or one of the most important early leaders of the progressive movement, is just the revolution eating itself. And he, of course, is the 4th person on Mount Rushmore, the 4th president, was thought of as being a great president. In fact, my daughter's school in very, very, very liberal Santa Monica is named after Teddy Roosevelt, but now he is out of the canon. And one of the reasons is that he is depicted in the statue on top of a horse, and next to the horse on either side, on one side is a Native American, and on the other side is an African. And these figures are depicted in heroic, iconic ways, very handsome sculpture. They're not ridiculed in any way. They're sort of celebrated, but they're below him. He's on top of the horse, and they are at the sides of the horse, which I guess is supposed to be demeaning or something, according to contemporary interpretations, but probably not the interpretation at the time. And these represent, of course, Teddy Roosevelt's adventures. Teddy Roosevelt founded the system of national parks and reunited Americans, particularly urban Americans like himself, with the frontier, with the wilderness in America, which is associated with Native Americans, at least in the American imagination at the time. And he went on safari in Africa and other places. And he embraced a kind of indigenous experience. But that is now seen as being part of a colonial mindset. And maybe he had that mindset. He did develop the U.S. Navy as a world force. He did have that slogan, "Speak softly and carry a big stick." He did expand American dominion over Cuba as one of the Rough Riders, and over the Philippines in the Spanish-American War that he participated in. So I guess that's bad. He expanded American power. He helped inaugurate the era of American global hegemony, and therefore he is to be dismantled from the Museum of Natural History.
That's an excerpt from my daily show, The Ezra Levant Show. Every day I do a monologue on the news of the day, then I interview an interesting guest, and then I read my hate mail. You gotta subscribe. Go to rebelnews.com.